Hey, friend. This episode is a powerful one. We are diving into a conversation with Jennifer Rodriguez. She is a licensed clinical social worker, medicine woman, and the visionary behind Healing the Sacred Thread Resilience Festival. We talk about trauma healing that goes way beyond the therapy chair, shamanic practices, EMDR, soul retrieval, and what it means to reclaim your power as a woman, a mother, and even a human being. This one is going to open some new doors for you. Welcome to Mindset Medicine with Dr. Tanya Burfield, where science meets soul, burnout meets boundaries, and high achieving women finally stop performing and start healing. I am a resilience and transformation expert, nervous system strategist, and recovering overfunctioner just like you. This podcast is your sanctuary for breaking cycles, rewriting stories, and reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your power. Each week, we blend neuroscience, somatic practices, and spiritual truth to help you unlearn the noise and remember who you really are. You're not broken. You're breaking free. And this is your medicine. Hi, everyone. This is, I think, going to be a pretty exciting and fun conversation. It just so happens that our guest today is somebody that our worlds just collided. We ended up working on I'm going to say working on a project together. I'm participating in a project that she is putting a lot of work into, and I just get to bump in. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about who she is, what she does, like we always do, and learn a little bit more. So with me, I have Jennifer Rodriguez. She is a licensed clinical social worker. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This is really exciting and such a blessing.
Well, you're so welcome. So why don't we just start by you sharing a little bit about number one, where you're located in the world, and then what it is that you do, and maybe what drew you to that work.
The nonprofit is located in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. So Northeast Pocono region. And we do holistic integrative trauma healing. And what does that mean? It means that I integrate EMDR therapy with somatics, internal family systems, with spiritual practices that come from indigenous peoples, such as the Quero from Peru. I am a Quero trained shaman. As we'll say, shaman in quotations. I like to call myself a medicine woman.
Mhm.
I integrate the healing modalities of Reiki, access bars therapy, access bars healing modality with shamanic practices around womb healing, as well as soul retrieval, so shamanic journey. Oh, the list goes on. It's really beautiful, fantastic work.
I'm super excited about this conversation just because I've had lots of people on the podcast and you are saying words that we've not quite heard yet before. And so I think it's going to be really fun to talk about some of those things. So you mentioned the nonprofit. Tell us, what is the nonprofit called?
The nonprofit is called Amor Latino Counseling. And right now, we are a referral service where we are fundraising. We're a grassroots organization, and we are fundraising to help subsidize holistic health services for the community. And we focus on women who have experienced domestic violence, families with neurodivergent children, and these are near and dear to my heart.
I love that. I love that so much. All right. I love it. So let's talk about a couple of the things. You mentioned that you are a medicine woman and that you've got shamanic training. Just what does that mean?
That means that I have elders who are the medicine people that I learned from and I have healed with. So I myself have experienced traumatic situations in my life, and I was searching for healing after the birth of my three children. And I
Mhm.
went to therapy, and therapy was not enough. And I started to explore spiritual practices because I read the Four Agreements, and that led me to shamanism and Reiki.
Mhm.
And I learned how to heal myself with the assistance of my EMDR therapist, and it was a beautiful modality, let's say,
Mhm. Mhm.
that came to me um, from my own journey of returning all of my soul pieces back to myself. So,
Mhm.
what does that look like? That looks like self empowerment. That looks like strong boundaries, spiritual, mental, emotional. It looks like intergenerational healing. It looks like naming where the trauma started from generationally. And
Mhm.
if you were to look, peel back on the levels of where that also happens multidimensionally, how we reincarnate, right? So it depends really on the individual's understanding of the soul having a human experience, because the levels of it, of trauma healing, of returning soul pieces back to the physical body, is so dynamic. So my shamanic teacher in Florida taught us how to journey into our underworld. And the ghetto people call the underworld guardian Waskar. And Jungian psychology will tell you you have to go into your shadow selves. We're in your
Mhm.
dream state. So already we are doing unconscious work with our subconscious in the psychoanalytic theory, right? The
Mhm.
shamans have been doing this for millennia. And the indigenous people of the Quero Mountains, they have connections to the earth. So learning different rituals and songs and prayers helped me in my healing. And it integrated so beautifully in my mothering as well.
I can just imagine. You just said something that makes me think that we have a similar experience. You talked about having three children and having some healing journeys along that way. I also have three children, and I've told this story a little bit, but when I had the third one, so I have three boys, and after I had the third one, I struggled with postpartum depression in the worst way. It was a challenge, and that sort of set me on my path of healing and the different modalities that I have since trained. There are a ton of them, but that's sort of what got me started for the same thing. Traditional therapy just wasn't doing it for me. It did something, but it wasn't enough. I needed more. And I was just searching and looking for things. And so that's what sort of led me into the work that I'm doing now. So I think that's really fascinating.
It feels very aligned for our meeting
Hmm.
and the expansion of the world, to be able to piece all of this together of how was that for you and your family? I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to ask questions.
You're fine. You're
You
fine. You're fine. Yeah, it's interesting. So I started the journey, right, just because I was struggling with myself. And so I did therapy, I did medication, I did like lots of exercise and all the things. And this was also, 20 years ago. And so not everything was as readily available for me to learn and understand that I could get a hold of today. And so I pretty quickly discovered that there's a world out there that I needed to get a better handle on, and one of my kids also struggled with ADHD and dyslexia, and of course, in trying to solve that problem, because I'm a fixer, or trying to solve that problem, what they wanted to do was just medicate him and send us on the way with a bullet list of things we could try to accomplish, and I didn't love that either. So we went down another holistic path and did some structural, like scheduling kinds of things and nutritional sorts of things. But then the thing that I did that probably was the most helpful, and made the biggest and most significant impact on him was I learned meditation. And then I learned guided meditation. And that child who never sat still, like you would read to him and he would be upside down and sideways the entire time. It would drive us crazy. He loved meditation and he still does. He's in his mid 20s now. He still loves meditation and will use it as he needs to. And I just loved that I would be able to see him sort of simmer down and settle down for a period of time when he wasn't really capable of doing that any other time of the day or night. He moved even in his sleep, he moved constantly. So
Mhm.
that's sort of was one of the leaps that I took and one of the biggest impacts I saw on the family.
Mhm.
I found that to be really fascinating. How about you? How did that impact your family with especially with 3 kids?
Well, I my daughter is 11 and my sons, I'm a twin mom. They're 8.
Mm. Mhm.
One of my sons is neurodivergent, also ADHD diagnoses. However, trauma runs deep and anxiety
Mhm.
runs deep within our family lineage.
Mhm.
And so our trauma responses as both, so my ex-husband and I were raised in the Bronx in New York. And so being um, lower class, low middle income Latinos in the Bronx, we experience our own microaggressions and
Mhm.
difficulties of socioeconomic economic statuses. So we grew up in spaces where there were gang fights and there was a lot of drug dealing that happened in our neighborhoods in the South Bronx. And so we had a nervous system that was always jumpy and hyper vigilant, and I I I experienced panic disorder after the birth of my twins along with postpartum depression, and so there was an obsession of something happening to my children.
Mhm.
And the panic attacks were relentless. And I tried lorazepam and Zoloft, and it created suicidal ideations and even
Mm.
plans for me.
Yeah.
And so I was unable to really mother, and it took a toll in my marriage. And so we separated, and we are great friends now.
Mhm.
But we know how to communicate now differently because, as my mom would always say, the woman is the heart of the family, right? So my mom's very Latina.
Mhm.
So being the matriarch of our lineage, it was very important for her um, that I remains as a perfect family unit, and that was a lot of stress, right? So
Mhm.
I broke a lot of molds as being the first daughter and the first to graduate from university, and I have 2 master's degree from Ivy League universities, and those were huge feats in my family. And becoming a mother was the best thing. But my nervous system was like, "It's not enough. You're not a perfect mom. You're not good
Yep.
enough."
Mhm. With something we just struggle with as women in general, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's tough. It's really hard. Yeah.
So what it did was the healing modalities helped me to communicate better with as a co-parent, as a daughter, to my mother who had certain expectations, to my family members who had certain expectations,
Mhm.
as to what was safe for me and my children. And what was more impactful was we did not need to remain in a marriage where it was not growing. And so the that kept my children safe.
Yeah. And
And
I think the safe is good, but then there's this level of happiness too. If you are in a space that you're not feeling safe or you're not feeling happy, there you're not hiding that from them. And so being able to get them into a different or I want to say a better situation, even though that you're in a good place with your ex-husband now, that you're in a situation that I'm sure your kids feel much better.
well, yes, it's very important to acknowledge that where we grow, where who we are around impacts the way that we exist in the world. And so if our communication skills lack because of experience, because of education, because of socioeconomic status. I mean, there's a variety of things that come into play.
Right.
Um,
Positive and negative. They all
yep.
impact.
Yes, and so it's important also parenting styles that come into play, right? Who is an authoritative parent versus a permissive parent, and why are we permissive? Perhaps because we're in freeze mode. And if we're in freeze mode and we're people pleasing all the time, recovering codependent.
Mm.
uh,
Yes, yes.
we
Yep,
have
for
some
sure.
issues. Mhm.
Yeah, they're all very interesting experiences. You listed a couple of other modalities and things that were really helpful for you. One that you talked about, and I know enough to be dangerous about, but I'm really curious about, and we haven't really talked about it here on the podcast, is EMDR. So tell us a little bit about what that is and what it means and what is the benefit. All of the just give us all of the juiciness about about it.
EMDR therapy is rapid eye desensitization reprocessing therapy. So, what we do is we pay attention to the somatics of the individual's body. So, we can extinguish certain memories through bilateral movement, and bilateral movement can happen with butterfly tapping, potentially tapping on the legs. We do a lot of eye movement with the hands, or some practitioners have the light beam. There's
Mhm.
also this nifty ball that you can utilize when you do virtual therapy with individuals, where the individual just travels back and forth their eyeballs. So what does that mean? So Dr. Shapiro, she noticed that in our sleep, our eyes go from right to left, from left to right, right. So it's like refiling the traumatic memories and in our hippocampus and creating more calm, because when we have this inflamed nervous system, these inflamed brain systems in there, they're firing back neural networks that are in fight or flight and traumatic responses, and these implicit beliefs of I'm not good enough, I have to be in control, these belief systems that so many of us are ingrained in, potentially from where we grew up, what our family system was like, where we went to school, whatever the case may be. Um, these implicit beliefs are imprinted in our brain, and so the bilateral movement of the eyes or of within our body, one, reduces the stress response, two, helps to shift those negative memories into the prefrontal cortex where we can problem solve better, and also, because we have the neural networks that are always wanting to regenerate and create more harmony.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
bilateral movement helps with creating new neural networks. So instead of thinking I am I'm unworthy, we think I'm I'm doing the best I can. So that's very similar also to EFT tapping, right? So
Mhm.
EFT tapping, where we're doing the bilateral movement to both sides, acknowledging the negative belief cycle, and then also recreating with a positive affirmation. Um, so we do this in stages and phases, right? So in the past phase, so when do I recall this negative belief starting? When's the earliest time? Can we scan our body? How uncomfortable is that? So we're measuring the level of distress, and then we're measuring the validity of that statement. I'm not good enough. How true is that statement to you? And so the individual will let us know, oh, you know what, it's true. It's as true as my middle finger here, my pointer
Mhm.
finger here. Okay, well, let's work on that. Let's check in with our body. And when we see the reduction of the level of distress as well as the validity of the statement, then we know that the body, the mind, and the body, the mind, and the soul, even, right? Because, well, I'm integrating also Reiki therapy in this way. If they're following my hands, Reiki just come out of me if I have consent. If not, then
Yep.
we're not doing
Yep.
that.
Mhm. Yep. Yep, that makes perfect sense. So, do you feel like the benefits are pretty immediate? Does it take time for that to integrate? What does that look like?
Well, we have the ability to extinguish certain beliefs with rapid EMDR therapy within 6 months. So if we have a car accident, let's say, or and we have a fear of driving because of what occurred, going and trying out an EMDR session and specifically working on that memory,
Hmm.
we see reduction within 6 to 8 months.
Love that. How often do you typically see people, or is it just very dependent on what it is they're experiencing and what you need to work through?
My clientele range in needs. So I have individuals with borderline personality disorder, with bipolar disorder, individuals with chronic PTSD, individuals with anxiety. A lot of lifespan issues come to see me. So, in terms of feminine presenting women who
Hmm.
come to see me with history of sexual assault or domestic violence. So, we are unpacking these traumatic memories bit by bit. So I wouldn't put a time frame on how long
Yeah.
they will join me.
Yeah, and that it also makes good sense. We have to start at a base, and then
Yes.
I think we might maybe talked about this earlier, where you start to peel back the onion and find the layers, and as soon as you think you've got one and you've resolved it, the next one then bubbles up, and we have to work on that one next. So that makes good sense to me.
I love internal family systems for that reason because you're
Mhm,
piecing back together the various parts of the self, which can go back to the soul retrievals. So
mhm,
if there was a time where an individual had a traumatic event happen in childhood, then that soul piece becomes frozen in time. And then those implicit beliefs of I'm unworthy start to calcify within the central nervous system and the brain and the soul aura, right? So then we're magnetizing to ourselves more experiences that give validity to that thought form. And so that's when energy work is very important because we start to do some spiritual hygiene to release the energetic imprints that come about from the constant feeling, the constant lesson that
mhm.
we continue to go through because we have this traumatic response of I need to people please in order to be safe, potentially
Right.
because of this one traumatic event or maybe multiple traumatic events that yielded the same results.
Yeah, and then they just bury themselves in their body and stay there until we figure out how to uncover that and release and all of the things, which sort of takes us into how we, sort of got to this point of being on this call together. So you have something in the works that is just absolutely, I mean, phenomenal. I like all I wanna say is it's freaking incredible. Like this that's how I'm feeling about this. I love
Thank
this,
you.
event that you've got coming up so, so much. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that is, and then we can talk a little bit about what we're doing there.
We, myself, and a local businesswoman who is phenomenal. Her name is Danica. She is the owner of Wicked Candle Bar, and she's a really great friend. We're Rotarians together, and I was sharing with her some of the mission of Amor Latino, and the event is called Healing the Sacred Thread, which is a domestic violence resiliency festival. And we will host workshops around breath work, holistic healing like Reiki therapy, as well as somatic work, as well as trauma informed yoga. So we'll have various workshops happening throughout the day. It's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at East Stroudsburg University. We'll be right in the courtyard, right in the front.
I love it. And it's free, right? Anybody can attend, and there's no charge for it?
It is free. The workshops are free. The panelists, which you will be a
Mhm.
panelist and a workshop facilitator, which is phenomenal. They are free. We will have vendors, local holistic vendors in of the area of the East Stroudsburg, Northeast PA area. We actually have a couple of vendors from Philadelphia coming in also.
Ooh, fantastic.
Yes, and some food trucks, which that we, if you choose to purchase anything from our vendors or the vendors who are our referrals in the area or from the food trucks, you'd have to bring some money for that. But otherwise,
Mhm.
it is free. Yes.
And I think that I saw something about all of the proceeds, because you're like, there's a cost associated for vendors and whatnot. So all of the proceeds of the day are being donated back to some sort of programming for domestic abuse survivors. Is that accurate?
Yes, so we have a wonderful local Airbnb company called Pocono Vintage Home. And Chani, she is just a beautiful soul who is donating the home for a 3-day retreat. And
Mm,
she is sponsoring this retreat. And so the services that will occur during this retreat, we will have scholarships for women to attend. We will have drop-in services as well as 3 overnight stays, and the individuals who will be joining us and staying overnight, they will be fully covered by the proceeds to Healing the Sacred Thread, as well as starting out our programming that we have here in terms of our assistance for families with neurodivergent children. So we spoiler alert, in April, keep an eye out for our autism festival. We will be
oh,
hosting the
nice.
gathering. Yes.
Oh my goodness, so much good stuff coming. So this is the first time that you have done this Healing the Sacred Thread Resilience Festival, right? So you've already got a great plan and a great turnout, at least of vendors and panelists. I know a couple of the names, and that's how I found out about it. So I think that that's going to be amazing. I think you said this, but I just want to make sure everybody caught it. It's on October 18th, so you have plenty of time. There's no registration necessary. I'll put it in the link in the notes of the show. But you've got out on Facebook and I think maybe Instagram
Yes.
some information about the festival itself, so you can go find that. And then you've also been putting out some social media posts around the people that are providing the workshops and the panelists and whatnot. So you can check out what people are going to be offering and what you could be taking part in. So it sounds really fun. The workshop that I'm doing is Panic to Peace. It's something that I've been doing quite a bit of because it deals a lot with anxiety and exactly what we were talking about, how these sort of things get stuck in your body. And so how do we somatically release those and understand, like, how does the science and the soul all come together so that we can let go of some of that and use our body to make sure that we're regulating,
Mhm.
de-escalating all of the big words, in order to just sort of feel like we can live from a place of peace rather than panic and anxiety or depression or any of those things. So I'm so excited about it. Thank you so much for including me.
Thank you for joining us. I think the
Yeah, you
medicine you
bet.
bring is important.
Yeah, I'm really excited. All right, that's fantastic. Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to share tonight?
Yes, we will also have a bounce house face painter, so it's
Oh,
family
right.
friendly.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be fun.
and And in the Latino tradition, in the Latin America communities, specifically in Mexico, we have something called a celebration called Dia de los Muertos. Excuse me. Um, so we will have an ancestor altar, a living portal
Mm.
space for us to honor our ancestors at the Healing Festival. And that will lead into our Dia de los Muertos fundraiser on November 1st, where we will have a family constellation, ancestral meditation, and connection sound bath with cacao. So it
Oh,
is a continuation to the work.
that sounds amazing. I might have to be back for that.
I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love it. I love the idea of the altar too, just to be able to, you know, uh, just to be able to pay your respects to whether it is somebody that you have lost or maybe to domestic violence or just somebody that's not with you anymore. Maybe it's an ancestor, maybe it's, something within your lineage. I love the idea of being able to do that.
Yes. So we're
Fantastic.
bridging in the spirit with the 3D world that we live in. Yes.
I love it. I call that a dash of hippie woo. I do my work with a dash of hippie woo.
I love that. What a great you
Yeah.
should trademark that.
I should. You're right, I should. Awesome. So, Jennifer, thank you so much. We were able to pull this to together pretty quickly so that we could get it out before the festival and give people time to be able to make their way there. And so I really hope that they'll join us. I think that this is going to be fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, my heart is so full with all the individuals with so much medicine to bring. It's gonna be a great day.
I hope that you felt the medicine in that conversation with Jennifer. The Healing the Sacred Thread Festival is all about resilience and community and deep healing. And it is happening on October 18th at East Stroudsburg University here in Pennsylvania. It is free, family friendly, and packed with workshops, connection, and sacred space. I will be there leading Panic to Peace, the workshop, and I will also have copies of my brand new book, which will be out just the week before, Radical Resilience, with me. And so find me at my booth if you do decide to attend, and make sure that you introduce yourself and let me know that you heard about this here. And then if you cannot make it in person, that is still okay. You can order the book. You can pre-order it now on Amazon and then grab the bonuses that are waiting for you. So head over to the website, www.drtanyab.com, to grab the details. Until next time, take a deep breath, choose peace over panic, and know that I love you.